All right, hello and welcome to Unnecessary Roughness Barstool's college football podcast, brought to you by High Noon Hard Seltzer. Now, if you'll notice right now, you're looking at three very, very ugly faces, and there's one lovely face missing. We are in the middle of the season, and travel gets the best of us sometimes. Travel delays our schedules on Thursday. They don't always match up. Kayce will be back next time we do this show on Saturday night. We just had problems scheduling today as we record this late Wednesday night. But I'm rambling. It's brought to you by High Noon Hard Seltzer, and I don't know many people in the world that enjoy those more than Big Ev.
I couldn't be happier to tell the people about High Noon. It's just a delicious beverage. You got the end zone packs right now. We have the pear, the cranberry, the classic new grapefruit black cherry. It's just delicious, fantastic. It's great. Maybe you're watching some college football this weekend. Twist your arm with a High Noon. Maybe you're playing some golf if you don't like college football. That's fine too. Grab a High Noon. They are limited. The end zone pack is limited. So get it now. Visit highnoonspirits.com. Find it where you can get it near you. High Noon's just fantastic. It's the best. It's special. There's a million adjectives I could use to describe it. They're all good ones. Shout out High Noon Hard Seltzer.
All right, it's boys' night here at Unnecessary Roughness. We got Big Ev in his hotel room in Chicago. I'm in the man cave. Blutman is apparently in some tomb somewhere. So welcome in, boys. Here's what I'm going to christen this weekend. Okay, I'm going to call this weekend Lock It In Weekend. All right, because I believe if you come out and struggle in week one, all right, cool. You struggle in week one, you can still fix things. It doesn't really matter. And if you do well in week one, but you struggle in week two, all right, okay, I get it. Penn State, I'm looking at you. You were great in week one. You struggled in week two. Like, I get it. I get things. But now we're in week three. Now we're in the third week. We're coming up on a month soon. Conference play is right around the corner. If you are really good for the first 3 weeks or really bad for the first 3 weeks, I think it's about time to lock in. That's what you are. I think that you've got some candidates here out there. I'm looking dead at you, Oregon. Like, twice I've seen you. Twice I haven't been impressed. Time to lock it in. Time to lock it in, Oregon. Michigan, Florida State, Notre Dame. These are all teams that have done this a little bit. I don't know what they are. What do you think about lock it in weekend, Big Ev?
That's what it is. You had the dual sample size. You had one sample, two. Now it's three. Now this is like the rubber match of sample sizes. Maybe, like you said, maybe you look good, maybe you look bad. Now show me what you really are. Show me consistency. That's what week 3 is about, consistency.
We're rolling out a few more conference games, a few more of this. We're rolling a couple of intra-conference games. You've got Alabama going north, which, by the way, never, ever, ever, ever happens. Now, they are going north in the middle of September, and it'll be 80 degrees in Wisconsin on Saturday, so I don't think that's that big of a deal. But you got a lot of things going on. Lock it in weekend, Blutman. Lock it in.
Yeah, I love this. I hadn't thought of it like this, the whole lock it in thing, but what's it coincide perfectly with? My thought that the top 25 shouldn't be out till after week 3. My rankings will be here after week 3, so just a few days till the Blutman top 25, which is not sure to have 25 teams because as we agreed on last week, there ain't 25 teams worthy of a ranking right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you understand what just happened. You just heard world history. What he just said was, we are days away from the first release of the 2024 Liam Blutman top 25 that might not be top 25 because he's not sure if there's 25 teams that ought to be ranked, but it's going to be his top 25, even though there might not be top 25 teams.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, put that on a graphic. So if you're waiting until after week 3 to make your top 25, I assume you're waiting for these teams to
lock it in.
Lock it in. We're going to make that a thing too. Lock it in. I look at the games, and we're going to get to our game that we're most excited about. We're going to get to our under the radar game. We're going to get to our upset alert. All the shit we do on Thursdays. We're going to get to that. But just looking at everything that's in front of us, there's no. Last week had Texas, Michigan, 2 gigantic names, 2 tentpole teams, 2 playoff teams from last year. Huge game. Didn't need any introduction other than that. We thought that was the only good game last week, too, by the way, and last week was fucking awesome. This week, I don't know that you have the tentpole game. You don't have the marquee, the oh my God, wins this game, I got to be there. But you've got Alabama at Wisconsin. You've got Arizona at K-State. You've got LSU at South Carolina. You've got Boston College at Missouri. You have like a bunch of games that are like probably not the marquee, but they're right underneath. Big Al, I think this is a sneaky Saturday right here.
I think we have a chance for some classics here. I think we have a chance for some really, really good games. I mean, yeah, there's only 2 ranked matchups the whole weekend, and one of them is Friday night. I'm sure we'll get into that game at some point.
Yeah.
But I think there's some good games. I think maybe a few upsets. There's some teams that, like you said, it's locked in week. It's some teams that you want to see. Are you for real? Like you said, Oregon. I want to see. Are you legit? You're going to Corvallis, tough spot. A lot of games like LSU, SC. SC is a perfect example. Team that looked really bad week 1, looked really good week 2. LSU has looked shaky kind of both weeks. What kind of team are they? A lot of that.
A&M Florida is an under the radar matchup that is, yeah, I think as far as the lock it in theory goes, LSU and South Carolina might be the best example. Like LSU played decently, we think, in a loss to USC, and then they kind of got pushed around by Nicholls State for a while. South Carolina was dreadful in week 1 and awesome in week 2. Now LSU's got to go to South Carolina, Williams-Brice Stadium, Willie B. Stadium, by the way. I don't know if you guys know, you're not SEC guys. Willie B. Stadium is really fucking good. And it doesn't matter if they're 0-2 or 2-0 or whatever. Williams-Brice Stadium rocks, and that's going to be a hell of a place to be on Saturday. Let's start with Alabama-Wisconsin, though. Alabama-Wisconsin, it's a unique matchup. South, North, dynasty kind of team that's always been knocking on the door but hasn't really got there. Now it's 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you say Alabama, Wisconsin, you know exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get the best recruits in the country playing against terrific defense and great running backs and great offensive line. Well, now Luke Fickell's there. Now Kalen DeBoer's there, and I think it's a matchup. We don't really talk enough about Wisconsin on this show. I think because maybe Dan's in the company and he talks about Wisconsin, but we don't talk about their identity enough because Luke Fickell is a great coach. He got the keys to the Wisconsin car and immediately went under the hood and changed everything. And I don't know that we talk about that enough.
Yeah, I don't think we do. And I'm still waiting. It's only year 2, so it's early. And I like Luke Fickell a lot. I think he's a great coach. I want to give him some time. But I think the thing with me is I still haven't seen that influx of athletes.
Yeah.
So I think the thing they've been missing is even when they've had the good run games, they just have no receivers that put any fear in you. No speed. They just lack speed. And I still kind of feel like they don't really have that. And I still feel like that's one of the bigger missing pieces that they have is that they don't have speed. You just have to have speed to win in college football.
Yeah, and especially if you're going 4 wide, if you're going 5 wide, if you're playing the offense that they've been wanting to play, you bring in Tyler Van Dyke to throw it. But if you don't bring in the burners, if you don't bring in the field stretchers, if you don't bring in the guys who are going to take the top off the defense, then what's the point? But as far as their identity goes, to me, I probably watch college football 100 years. Wisconsin is always going to be a great tailback running behind 5 of the biggest, most corn-fed white offensive linemen you'll ever fucking see. And that was Wisconsin football forever. They've kind of changed it, and I don't know if it's working yet, or if is it too early, or should we be seeing signs yet?
I just feel like with the transfer portal, he should have done a little more. I would like to give him at least till year 3. Like if he doesn't have it figured out by next year, whether it's like some new guys he brings in at a high school, or you said, or the transfer portal, there's weapons to be had in the transfer portal. There's speed to be had. Get some of that over, but you need to get one of these guys. Look for them to sit in one of these guys' living room and say, "Hey, you want to be the number 1?
Yeah,
you can do it here. You can be our number 1. You can be the go-to guy
in 5 minutes.
Like now, right now. If you sign, you're the number 1 guy right now because we got nothing there. When's the last good receiver they had? Cephas? I feel like it's been a while.
Yeah, I genuinely believe it's a tough selling point to an alpha WR1 when you bring in Tanner Mordecai and Tyler Van Dyke, and you're like, yeah, come play up here in the cold in the Big Ten against some of these tough, stingy defenses and brutal weather, and come play with one of those 2 at quarterback. If I'm a wide receiver, I ain't hearing that. I'm not going there. I want to play with either of them. And I'm truthfully not really a Longo guy, and Big Ev, yeah, completely nailed it. They don't have anything at receiver. There's zero substance year after year. You still go to Wisconsin. Your objective is take away the run game and make this team throw the ball on third down because the TVD ain't striking any fear to anyone.
Now, Alabama, they won easily in week 1. Week 2, it was a struggle for most of the game. They were up 14-13. They ended up winning 42-16. Ryan Williams is exciting as a freshman wide receiver. I am interested to see Jalen Milroe go on the road in Big Ten country, unfamiliar place. I do think I just still am not sold on Jalen Milroe. I'm probably the only person in the country that will say that, but I'm not. And Big F, I can't see a world where I should believe Wisconsin will keep this close. That being said, I think Wisconsin will keep this close. That's maybe just gut reaction. That could be gas. I might be having gas right now. Am I crazy?
I kind of when I vision this game in my head, I see it kind of similarly to how Wisconsin had played Ohio State in kind of recent years, where they hang tough early, but then you just end up getting out athleted, and I think they will eventually. Like, listen, they have a solid defense, but I think they eventually will exploit them, whether it's in the run game or Ryan Williams hits a home run or hits a couple of them. I kind of think Alabama wins this game by somewhere between like 17 and 20.
Yeah.
Like something like that. They pull away in the fourth quarter.
I should probably save these next 2 games for like under the radar segment because I might say them, but they probably shouldn't be under the radar, even if they are. Oregon's at Oregon State, and Washington State and Washington play. And this is the first time since the divorce. And in this scenario, the jilted exes have a chance to do the funniest thing ever, right? They have a chance to do the funniest thing ever, especially Oregon State, who is playing, I believe, at home. If they're playing in Dallas, so like Oregon has not looked great. They really haven't. I'm going to be honest. If you had, I'm just going to put it out there in front of God and everybody. If you made me take truth serum and tell you how much I know about every single Power 5 team in the country this year, how familiar I am with them, how confident I am I know them inside and out, Oregon State would be probably very, very last on the list. They would be there. I know so little about them, but again, Big F, Blutman, I'll start with you. Blutman, funniest thing ever if Oregon State wins this game?
I hate that you went to that line, but sure.
What, the
line we always make fun of? Yeah.
I make fun of that all the time. Because on Twitter, Big F, everybody says on Twitter, oh, this guy has a chance to do the funniest thing ever, and they never explain it. I never know what the funny thing is.
Yeah.
All right, Blutman, talk about this game.
Well, I mean, Power 5 is dead, to be fair. So
yeah, you know why I said that.
Yeah, the Mountain West affiliate you know the least about would be Oregon State. Quarterback, as I talked about on our last show, Giovanni McCoy, who comes over from Idaho. Yeah. So Oregon having to play Idaho, now having to play the former Idaho quarterback. Smaller quarterback with a big arm, loves to just be a playmaker and sling it downfield, decent rushing ability. Won the Jerry Rice Award a few years ago. Jam Griffin at running back, he's brute. Like, he's a tough tackle. They're still trying to, wear you down with the run game and really kind of, fortify and sustain that.
Okay, so can they do that to Oregon is the question.
I don't. That's what I was going to say. I don't think that they're going to be able to.
Yeah. Is this a good breakout spot for Oregon, Big F?
I honestly really kind of like Oregon State here. Maybe I'm falling into the week 3 trap where finally this is the get right spot for Oregon. I just think in Corvallis, it's a lot of points. Yeah. And I even saw a stat today. Someone posted in their last 20 games, they're or 21, maybe it was 18-3 against the spread at home or something close to that. Corvallis is one of those we joked on the College Football Show a few years ago, sneaky tough.
Yeah.
Or trickier tough. It's tough. I would say Corvallis is a tough place to play. And to a team like Oregon State, obviously the in-state rivalry, this is their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
This game is everything to them.
And way more so than it's ever been. It's always been their Super Bowl, but never to this level.
100%. That's what I'm saying. That's why I like them here with the points. I almost it was one of those I said on a show the other day. When I did my circle, it was the one that was this might be my play of the week. Like, I love it. And I almost liked it so much it scared me. But I'm
Yeah.
going to be honest, I really like Oregon State. I just think it's too many points.
And Washington State and Washington are kind of the same principle, although Washington's certainly not. They don't have the talent profile that Oregon has this year. They don't have the expectations or the ranking that Oregon has this year. And they get to host this game. But Washington State still a jilted lover who's just sitting there holding the Mountain West bag while their ex goes and hangs out with their new famous friends over there on the East Coast and over there in the middle of the country. Washington State's got to be out for blood. Like this rivalries are rivalries. I can't imagine what these two places are going to be like Saturday. I can't imagine it.
I like Washington, for the record.
I do too. Has Will Rogers been good, Blutman?
Not really. He's got to get the ball. He's got to get the ball to Denzel Boston. It's a big piece.
LSU and South Carolina, certainly another get-right spot for LSU or South Carolina. I'll say this. The most confusing team in the country is South Carolina. Should have lost, pretty much did lose to Old Dominion. In my mind, they lost to Old Dominion even though they didn't. And then they just beat the living shit out of Kentucky. LSU going on the road. This feels a lot to me like last year when Missouri was the new hotness and Missouri went 10-2 and Missouri beat Ohio State in the bowl game. But LSU rolled into Columbia in the middle of the season and walked out of there with a victory. It feels like similar energy to that, where Carolina's feeling themselves and great, but LSU goes in there. I think they can go in there. It feels like a good spot to buy low on LSU, but also like Dylan Stewart and that. Tell me about Dylan Stewart, Blevin, because this guy's a fucking monster.
Yeah, I think if the NFL draft was tomorrow, and despite the fact he's a true freshman, he'd go in the top 5. Like, he's that good. He's that talented. He is quite literally the best pass rusher in the game right now. Kentucky had 3 guys blocking him, couldn't block him. He's quick. He's angry, just vicious, powerful. He's like a fearmonger. You can't stop this guy.
He has Brandon. You want to know what he has? That I know he has. The NFL scouts love using this term, bend.
Yeah.
You see him. He's big, but he's also kind of like, I don't want to say thin, but he's got like that. Like he's got a little wiry in it, like a little wiry to him, even though he's such a big guy. Like the bend. Like they were showing a few highlights of the first game of the Old Dominion game. It really is crazy though. The angles he can just get off the edge. He just dips under the tackle. It's crazy.
Every 10 years or so, South Carolina will just get the best player in the country, and it's just like, okay, well, he's at South Carolina, I guess. I guess that's how we're doing this guy's career. A couple more games before we get to our categories and everything. Big Ev, I'll just let you go solo on this one. Colorado State last year was one of the games of the year, and we didn't expect it to be because Colorado seemed like they were rolling early, and then they ran into it. It was a crazy game. Is there a chance we get that craziness again?
I kind of think so. I've been very torn on this game because I know the receiver for Colorado State is hurt.
Horton.
Yeah, Horton is hurt, and he's unbelievable. He's an NFL guy. There was so much beef. There was so much juice in that game. There was so much beef. They almost killed Travis Hunter in that game. But I'm torn on whether this is a get right spot for Colorado, or if things are just falling off the rails here before our eyes, and things are really snowballing. I'd probably lean to Colorado. I kind of think Colorado is going to go in there and get a win. But Colorado is just in such disarray right now. I just have a hard time really putting a lot of faith and confidence in them to show up.
Yeah, I do too, and I do think they just seem broken, and I don't know how you fix that in the middle of the season. Shador looks kind of miserable through 2 games. He doesn't look like he's enjoying it. I can't imagine his offensive line is enjoying their jobs at the moment. Maybe beating up Colorado State would be the exact right thing to put them back on track. I don't know. But last year this game was crazy. This year this game could in fact be crazy again. We'll get to the categories now. Blevin, any game I haven't mentioned that you want to just throw out there real quick? Oh, I didn't mention Arizona and Kayce. I didn't mention Arizona and K-State. You talk about Kansas State needs to bounce back. Arizona wasn't great the other day, but 2 ranked teams, Friday night, terrific Friday night game. Fantastic fucking Friday night game. Big Ev's doing it. Go.
Lock in. This is the lock-in game of the week. To me, both teams need to lock the fuck in. Somebody's got to lock in because they both have looked very underwhelming. Very underwhelming. Somebody's got to lock in.
Yeah, and they're in a conference where I feel like everybody's kind of been underwhelming so far. Like nobody's really stepped up and grabbed the brass ring. And I know Utah really only looked that way because Cam Rising didn't play in the second half. But it feels like there's opportunity in the Big 12 for somebody to step up, and this is a good weekend for that to happen. UCF's on the road at TCU. You got Oklahoma. Oklahoma's in the SEC now, Brandon. I meant to say Oklahoma State. You got all these teams. Iowa State coming off the win at Iowa. I don't know who's stepping up to win this conference, but this big out of conference, God, I keep messing up. This big game for Kansas State would be a huge step in the right direction early in the season.
But this is the same as Baylor Utah, correct? It's out of conference, but it's in conference.
Blutman?
It's so hard to keep track of that garbage.
I'm pretty sure it's the same situation where it's because it was pre-scheduled, so it's out of conference, but they're both in the Big 12.
All right, it is Draftkings, and we got a big slate of games this weekend. Games all over the country. The big matchup in Wisconsin, the games in South Carolina, games all over the place. It's a huge, huge slate of games, big matchups. It is super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple, like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. This is going to be DraftKings' biggest college football season to date. Enjoy the ride now all the way through the expanded playoffs. And for all the newbies getting into the college spirit, here's something extra special. New DraftKings customers bet $5. You know how much you'll get in bonus bets instantly? $250. If you bet $5 as a new customer, you get $250 in bonus bets. Score big with DraftKings all college football season long. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code ROUGH. ROUGH, ROUGH. That's code ROUGH. For new customers, get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. All right. Blutman, I will start with you.
Yep.
What shirt are you wearing, by the way?
Run the ball.
Run the damn ball. Okay. All right.
Montana State.
All right. So, Blutman?
Yep.
What game are you most excited about for week 3?
This one, it's a bit funny because while you guys have been talking about week 3, there's been a large emphasis on Saturday and how it could be a sneaky Saturday and everything. I've looked at this slate for a week now, just looking forward to Thursday and Friday. I think the best 3 games of this week are on Thursday and Friday. ASU, Texas State. We talked about Arizona, Kansas State, and then UNLV, Kansas. So those are 3 I'm most excited for. If I had to pin it down to one, it's UNLV, Kansas.
Really?
Yeah, I can't wait.
You love that UNLV offensive coach, right? You love UNLV.
Brandon Marion, yeah. You know why, Brandon? Yeah, you know what? Little learning lesson here for everyone about to watch UNLV. First time, long time maybe. The go-go offense, Brandon Marion's specialty. He created this thing. Balanced, explosive, kills you with creative alignments that throw defenses off and open things up in all areas that they want to attack. Inside zone, zone reads, outside lead, the spread passing attack. They're rich with talent too, dude. They've got Ricky White, who's a P5 guy, Michigan State transfer, NFL guy, serious speed, Jacob DeJesus, you'll see, Jaden Thomas, Greg Burrow, Michael Allen, Kylan James, and Marion does a great job of distributing touches and letting all their guys eat. He's got a nasty double wheel play, too, that boggles the minds of defenders. There's a reason that I love Marion. There's a reason a lot of other people love Marion. That go-go offense is infectious. He's getting an NFL OC job soon or a college football head coaching job soon. And there's a reason why on Sundays there's a lot of NFL teams that implement some inspiration from the go-go.
Big Ev, what game are you most excited for this weekend?
I think Liam hit the nail on the head with the early games, the Thursday, the Friday games. I think it's Kansas State, Arizona. I want to see which one of these teams steps to the plate and takes this game. Like I said, they both look underwhelming. 2 really good quarterbacks, at least we're hyped to. Fafita's been better this season, but I mean, they've played 2 mediocre teams, have been able to blow them out. But I'm very excited to see them go on the road, see what happens. I actually already locked in Arizona plus 7.5. I think they keep it close here. I think it's a really, really close game. I think it's a dog fight. I think it's a really exciting game. So, yeah, that's it.
You want to talk about a lock-it-in game? How about going from 300 yards receiving or whatever it was, 2 miles receiving in week 1 to 2 catches for 11 yards in week 2 for McMillan?
Yeah, they left so much to be desired. Like, they didn't want to show anything on tape.
Hadn't they shown it the first week?
You'd think. I mean, they want to rest their players too.
All right. The game I am most excited for, which, by the way, I kind of agree with Kansas State and Arizona. I think that's two, as we try to figure out the Big 12's title contenders, that's somewhere you really got to look, because whoever comes out of that game with the win has got a leg up. To me, it's Boston College, Missouri. Missouri is a team that I kind of dismissed a little bit offhand coming into the season, because in the SEC there's so many options. There's Georgia, there's Ole Miss, there's Alabama, there's Tennessee. There's so many options. At some point, somebody's gonna get squeezed out, right? And I thought after losing their defensive coordinator and losing Blake Baker and losing, I think 8 defensive starters and several to the NFL, I thought Missouri would take a step back defensively. How many points, Blutman, has Missouri given up on the season?
0, if I'm not mistaken.
They've given up 0 points. Back-to-back shutouts against tomato cans. Pure tomato cans. They have not impressed. They haven't played an impressive offense. Still, 0 points is 0 points. The Missouri defense has answered questions so far. I know Luther Burden's good. I know Brady Cook's good. I know the offense is going to be able to score points. Now you got Boston College, who looks tougher than nails. I mean, they go down to Florida State. Not only beat them, that's fine. They dominated them in the trenches and handled them. Now they go up against an SEC team, 2 ranked teams, and it's really a spot for Missouri to say, last year they come out of nowhere. I saw it coming, but they come out of nowhere to everybody else. They go 11-2. Are they a legit title contender this year? Are they a legit SEC contender? Because it starts right now if they are, and I'm excited to see that. All right, Blutman. No, Big Ev, you'll go first. What's the under-the-radar game for week 3?
I think it's UCF TCU. I think it's going to be a really exciting game, potentially even high scoring. I really like UCF in the game, but obviously just Tricky's got to go on the road here. I'm sure TCU is going to be we went to their stadium, beautiful stadium. I'm sure it's going to be loud, going to be a good environment. But yeah, I think it's a very under the radar, 2 not ranked teams. But I think UCF is a dark horse team to compete for the Big 12, and I think this is a spot to kind of plant that flag, hey, you go take care of business here, beat them handily. People are going to look at them seriously.
Yeah, I like that. Blutman, what's your under the radar game?
First off, I'll say, as you guys touched on earlier, Wazoo, Washington, and Oregon State, those games being played this early in the season is under radar how much I absolutely detest that. And I understand we talked about Cyhawk last week. Yeah, it's great to play that game early. These 2 games have no business being played right now when both have 2-0 records. I hate it. Under our game, Arizona State, Texas State. I mentioned as one of my games to most be excited about. I wanted us to live stream this game and react to it, but we weren't getting there. Cam Scabb is one of the most fun players in the country to watch. He's killing it once again at ASU. Former Sac State Hornet, 7.1 yards per carry in a crowded backfield. He's shining. And then G.J. Kinney, great coach. Mac Leftwich, great offensive coordinator. They're a true group of 5 playoff contender. You've got Jordan McLeod. He's killing in this offense, and he's got no shortage of talent to work with. Ismail Mahdi is a great, dependable back. Receiving production is distributed very evenly between Joey Hobart, Chris Don Jr., Cole Wilson, Jaden Williams. Love this team. Love the run and gun offense.
My under the radar game is I thought about A&M Florida here, but I think that's too high profile to be under the radar. Not two good teams, but I think it's a great spot for Florida. I thought about that, but I'm going to stay in the state of Florida in the under the radar game. If you're in Tallahassee and you start 0-2, losses to Georgia Tech and Boston College, oh, yikes, that's bad. But if you start 0-3, and one of those losses is to a G5 team, one of those losses is to Memphis, if you start 0-3, all of a sudden, Mike Norvell's job would not be in jeopardy, but he's got to completely overhaul whatever he's done in this particular season. He's got to throw everything out and start over if he starts 0-3. DJ has to go. He's got to throw in a freshman, Brock, whoever he throws in. He got to almost change everything. This would be a disaster if you're to start 0-3. And Memphis is no pushover at all. They're going to throw the ball all over the yard. I do wonder if this is a great spot to buy back in on Florida State, because both Georgia Tech and Boston College physically beat Florida State up. They dominated in the trenches. They kept the ball. They shortened the game. They were able to use their running game to do that. Memphis isn't even going to try to do that. So are they going to ignore the actual template to beat this Florida State team and thus lose? Or are they just going to be good enough? I think this is a tremendous game, going to be high scoring. I think this game's going to be fantastic. That's my under the radar game.
Can I just quickly say I understand the whole DJU thing. If anybody thinks that inserting Brock Glenn will do anything to this offense in a positive way, lost.
Correct.
He is beyond awful.
And you certainly can't blame everything on DJU. However, if you start 0-3 and you've got a senior rental quarterback, what are you playing for? You're not playing for the future. You're not playing for anything at that point. Find somebody on your roster that you can plug in there and sell to the fans as the future. Find somebody. Was it Croman Hoke, the true freshman? I believe that's who they got.
Desperation play. Go ahead.
Whoever it is, you got to do something. You got to figure out. Hey, this didn't work. Let's rebuild. Now they win this game. Sure, you go ahead and you march forward. All right. The upset alert. Who is on upset alert this week? I actually think there's like 4 or 5 that better be on their P's and Q's, especially after what we saw last week with Northern Illinois beating number 5 Notre Dame. Blutman, Big Ev, I'm sorry. Big Ev, I'll let you have the first crack at upset alert.
I think the team that's on upset alert big time is Texas Tech. They have looked bad, really bad. Their defense is PU stinky. And they got a North Texas team coming there. I love these spots where it's the interstate game. A team full of North Texas guys that would have loved to go to Texas Tech that maybe didn't get recruited there. This is their time to show them you made a mistake. You should have recruited me. They're going to score a lot. I think they're going to score quite a bit here. I like them with the points. I really, really think they go in there and win this game, and it would not shock me whatsoever if they do.
Blutman, who's your upset alert?
Had the same pick. Yeah. I don't know if you want me to go with that or something else.
Give me a little bit on that game and then give me another one. Why not?
All right. I mean, that defense, like I wrote down that they can't stop an offense if Tommy Smokes was the quarterback. That's just the fact of the matter. They are that bad.
What a weird person to say. Have you ever met Tommy Smokes?
Yeah, we're boys.
Oh, you're boys?
Yeah.
Sorry.
He said no to getting orange glasses to me, so I thank him for that.
All right, continue.
Yep. Then North Texas offense, they just got so many playmakers. DT Sheffield, he's smaller, but he's a joystick. Oscar Hammond, Landon Sides. Running back room's got a lot of guys. I'm not even going to bother naming all 4 of them. That game's going to be high scoring. North Texas could go and get theirs. What I had trouble with is that really an upset? By point spread definition, it is. By conference alignment, yeah, it is. That Texas Tech team is so bad defensively. It wouldn't shock me if they lost to Tommy Smokes' led team at quarterback. So, another one, I suppose, late night. New Mexico State, 20-point underdogs against Fresno. I don't know why. Sure. No, there's no way.
When's the last time you said an actual word? I haven't heard. It's just noises.
A lot of words. I would say UNLV Kansas, but I don't think I wouldn't say Kansas is.
That's an upset.
I wouldn't classify it as that.
All right, I'm ready. I'll say the upset alert, and I think this is the most obvious one on the whole board. But LSU's still ranked, and LSU's walking into a fucking hornet's nest. They're walking into a big old stadium full of cocks, and that's not fun. Trust me, that is not fun to go into a building full of cocks. You just never know what's going to happen to you. And also, I don't think LSU is all that good. Their defense still has a lot of holes. I think this team is soft. I think this team is soft as hell. And South Carolina, I don't think is soft. So I think LSU going in there, they're 7-point favorites. They're ranked. South Carolina is not. But I have no problem in my mind thinking of a world where South Carolina knocks them off. We've seen South Carolina at home over the last couple of years. Look what they did in Tennessee a couple of years ago. That Tennessee team was a hell of a lot better than this LSU team. So I think it's South Carolina LSU. I think it's by a significant margin.
Really?
Yeah. What do you think, Big
Like,
Ev?
a
You agree with
significant
that?
margin is the outcome of the game?
Significant margin as far as being the number one upset alert.
Okay.
I think
Understood.
it's LSU by a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. This is a game where I probably, for me, it's a South Carolina or nothing in terms of like for me like picking the game like betting wise. Like I'm either taking SC in the touchdown or I'm not. I'm not laying LSU on the road here. I just what we saw from South Carolina is enough for me to feel decent about them in the spot. It's at home. It's crazy just the way the slate worked out that a game day is going to be there. So I mean, I'd imagine it's going to be a ruckus environment. And Brandon, you talked about it a little bit. Williams-Brice Stadium. Little fun fact for people: I did go to Coastal Carolina, which is not too far away, for a little bit. Visited there. One of the best tailgating experiences of all time.
Yeah.
They have a huge lot. It's not all like separate. They have a massive lot that everyone parties in outside the stadium. Everyone's going to be drunk, having a good ass time. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I like SC.
I'm worried. I'll flip it here. I'm worried that the beatdown of Kentucky is now giving South Carolina a little too much love. A team that we did see struggle week one, an offense that is rolling out Lenoris Sellers at quarterback, who does not have the accuracy that you desire from a quarterback in the slightest. They've got playmakers, but man, it was 2 weeks ago, Brand, that you were on here talking about Shane Beamer and how unserious he is.
Yeah.
That one win against a dreadful Kentucky team who can't block anything shouldn't change that. Stort's a monster. They got to find something else.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But I also don't believe in LSU very much.
That's
One thing
fair.
I just for LSU though, in my opinion, I think Blutman agrees with me from what he just said about Sellers. Massive quarterback advantage, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I'm still a believer in Nussmeier. I think Nussmeier's a very good quarterback, and I stand on that.
completely. The quarterback and receiver room difference is astronomical.
Should we rename the game with 3 overtime potential to the game with 2 overtime potential? Because
Yeah,
A,
pretty so hard.
I would have hit that last week, and B, 2 overtimes is where you have to go for 2. So there's a big chance that even if it's a classic game, it's going to get separated right there. So that's the first big separation. I think it might need to be 2 overtime potential. And again, I would have hit that last week. That's also the most electric category to hit, by the way. When you call a game to go to 2 overtimes and it goes to 2 overtimes, that gives you life. That gets you going, man.
Send a letter to Sam Pittman, your boy.
What about?
He did that for you.
Yeah. Okay. Big Ev, 2 overtime potential.
I think it's Florida A&M. I think that's giving us the overtime potential because I think this is going to be a war. I think this is a Florida team that they're. I mean, your backs are against the wall here. A&M got to feel similarly as well. Where do you want this? Do you want this to be a season? The loser of this game is just going in the shitter. I mean, your season's cooked.
Yeah.
I mean, not that Florida had crazy expectations to begin with, but I mean, another game at the Swamp. You got embarrassed at the Swamp, obviously against Miami. This year, kind of like not get right spot, but just chance to show, hey, we're not as bad as everyone thinks we are right now. You go get a win here, and I kind of like Florida in the spot, like betting wise. But yeah, I think it's going to be a very, very good game.
Yeah, more on Florida in a betting spot a little bit later. I promise you that's coming up for me. Blutman, 2 overtime potential.
The last FBS game that anybody would expect to hear from. It's the only game starting in the 12 Central time slot. It would not shock me at all if you look at your phone or your laptop or whatever and you're looking at the scores and you see 0-2 UMass and 1-1 Buffalo are in double overtime. Just a gross, disgusting, vile game featuring terrible teams. You talked about Florida and Texas A&M being a war. This is the mid-off of all mid-offs, the low-off of all low-offs. These are probably 2 of the worst 5 to 7 teams in the country. Double OT is what this game needs.
So I got 2. I couldn't decide because, Blutman, you talked earlier about not liking those Pac-12 rivalry games or the Pac-12 and Mountain West, the former Pac-12 rivalry games this week. I got a couple.
I still like them early.
Yeah, but I got a couple games this week. One we haven't talked about at all. But as far as 2 overtime potential, tell me how Colorado State doesn't have it, because they certainly had it last year when that shit went crazy and wild. And Colorado's kind of due for a game where everybody by the fourth quarter is on Twitter saying, "Oh, we better watch this," and we're all watching it together. Colorado's due that game because they haven't really had it. And then this is the game we haven't talked about: the backyard brawl. Like Pitt and West Virginia. These two teams, this is a very underrated bit of hatred here because they fucking hate each other. I don't know many places you can go in the country and the first words out of their mouth is "eat shit blank," and that's what happens when you go to Morgantown, West Virginia. The first thing they're going to say to you is "eat shit Pitt," and you get that kind of hatred going, and you get two evenly matched teams. God knows what we might see on Saturday when these two teams play.
There's only 2 places in the country where that happens.
What, eat shit? What does Pitt say?
Oh, I wasn't talking about them.
What were you talking about?
Oh, anybody when they go to Tallahassee and see 3-2-1 Knoll.
Fair enough.
Thank
Fair
you.
enough. Has he resurfaced, by the way?
I don't know.
It's your attention to detail that sets you apart, Liam.
Thanks, man. Jack Mac's on the case, not me.
Yeah, where is Jack? Has Jack Mac not found him? I figured Jack Mac would have done a TikTok, like standing outside with his arm propped up against his mailbox, saying, "I found him."
Yeah, let me
Jack Mac texted him.
Yeah, how'd that guy? Is there any update?
He must have not responded, I would imagine, because we would have heard about it.
Big Ev, I got to ask you a question. Listen. You know, I got friends back in New York. I'm now in Chicago, but I count Jack Mac as a friend. And how was Jack Mac the day Livy Dunn came to the office?
He was feeling good. We recorded Spinning Backface that day. I talked to him about it. He was pretty fired up. But he not like when I say fired up, he was he wasn't. Jack Mac's not an overly giddy guy.
He's not a fired up guy.
No, he's not a fired up guy. But I know he was excited. I'll say. It was funny because she requested to do content with him personally.
That's what I heard.
That's the truth. That's the God's honest truth.
What a come up for our unnecessary roughness king, Jack Mac.
And I will say this: Livy Dunn must have came with 12 people.
Really?
Like she walked through. It was like she had 2 different. I don't know what they all were, from PR to agents and man. I don't know what was going on, but she came through with a bigger entourage than maybe I've ever seen at the office, which is saying a lot because we've seen quite a few of those.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of famous people come through there. A lot of beautiful, stunning women. Was she beautiful and stunning?
Yeah, she's beautiful for sure. I feel like not that I don't get the hype. Like I understand she's a very, very beautiful girl, but yeah, I don't know. I guess she's beautiful.
There you go. All right,
I'm gonna get myself in trouble there for a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, pork rinds time. It's time to huddle up and listen close, for in 2024 we pay tribute to a true game changer in the world of snacks, the unrivaled, the unbeatable Southern Recipe pork rinds. Yes, it's crunch time. We're not just talking about the last few nail-biting minutes of the game. We're talking about a snack so audaciously crunchy. It puts these pretentious chips and pretzels to shame. Let's face it, chips and pretzels, you've been benched. God, I love a good pork rind. PorkRinds.com, the nation's premier hub for pork rind lovers everywhere, is celebrating its annual Crunch Time Hero of the Week campaign, a sponsorship program designed to highlight outstanding football players during the regular season. Big F, can you imagine your playing days being called the pork rind, the Crunch Time Player of the Week? That would have been sweet.
Oh, I would have played so much harder if that was the case. I would have taken that play off.
From now through the end of the season, a collegiate player who has a phenomenal play or a significant tackle during the 13-week regular season will be eligible for the Crunch Time Hero of the Week award. The package includes a celebratory trophy, swag, and a generous supply of pork rinds to share with friends and family. And when I say generous, I see what they send us. I don't know what the New York offices are like. All I'm saying is we have a wall of pork rinds in Chicago, and I eat some every single day. The flavors, the hot honey, the barbecue, the spicy dill, which is in fact my favorite. It's fantastic. Crunch on Southern Recipe pork rinds. Find your Crunch Time hero at porkrinds.com. All right, let's see where we're at. So I think we got 2 more categories. We had most excited for. We had under the radar, 3 overtime potential, and upset alert. We actually only have 1 more category.
Protect your eyes, game of the week.
Forgot all about it. Blutman, very, very good. Now, is that something we were all supposed to bring or just you doing that?
I don't know. If you
You
guys
know what?
want, you can.
You're right. You're right. I said it was a new category. Big F, did you bring one?
No.
Well, you better start looking.
No, I shouldn't.
We're doing the Protect Your Eyes game of the week. Blutman will go first, and then me and you got to catch up. Blutman, are you ready for the Protect Your Eyes game of the week?
Yep. I was walking to dinner tonight from the office, and a guy went, "Hey, Blubman, how's the eye?" Well, doing good. It won't be doing good if I lay eyes on the massacre in Knoxville between Tennessee and Kent State. Oh, brother. Kent State's got Tennessee this week. Yeah, they've got, who is it next? Texas A&M, I believe. Bad times are coming for that Kent State football team, one of the worst teams in the country. Also, Air Force at Baylor. Air Force, not a good football team this year. They are replacing a lot on offense, and they're not doing a great job of figuring things out. Quarterback play looks to be pretty suspect so far. They just got trounced at home by the spread and shred of San Jose State. I have a third, too, if you guys need more time.
I certainly do. Go ahead.
Okay. 0-2 Colgate heads to Akron. Ugh. Ugh. Don't watch that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Big Ev, you got one ready?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Arkansas State, Michigan, because watching this Michigan offense operate is just disgusting. It's grotesque. It's putrid. No matter who they have at quarterback, they both stink. I understand one fought through leukemia, and God bless him for that. But he is not a good quarterback at all. At all.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with, and Blutman, I hate to steal one you already had.
That's okay.
But can you just imagine? Well, can you imagine just sitting down and watching Buffalo UMass from start to finish? Like everything's happening around you, and I think that's 11 a.m. Like Wisconsin, Alabama's on, and you're like, guys, I can't. Just give me some score updates from Madison. I got to watch Buffalo and UMass. Like nothing about Buffalo UMass sounds good at all. I don't want to see it. I don't want to watch it. The Cover Your Eyes game of the week. I will actively do this if Buffalo UMass comes on my TV.
How many people do you think will be in the stands?
UMass, by the way, might be the Cover Your Eyes team of the century. Like they're just.
Oh yes, okay.
They're just wretched and been wretched for a minute.
I thought you were going to say of the year. Temple sneakily bottom 2 team this year.
Temple stinks.
They are so bad. Coastal this week. Coastal offense actually looks fun with Beck this year. That's kind of a surprise because he sucked the fun out of him last year. Coastal minus, was it 17 this week at Temple?
Yeah, 17.5, 18.5, something like that.
That gets a thumbs up for me. Also, I misspoke. Kent State has Penn State next. I was thinking of Bowling Green as A&M next. Apologies.
One more, just to imagine just standing on the shores of Lake Michigan with a cool breeze blowing, and you gotta have a sleeve, and you're watching Eastern Illinois and Northwestern. And you're not even in a real stadium. There's nothing to block the wind. You're in a fucking high school bleachers, and you're watching Eastern Illinois Northwestern. Hey, where are you? I'm down by the lake watching Eastern Illinois Northwestern. Well, what the fuck you doing there?
That's got like 16-6 written all over it.
All over it. 16-6 is like Northwestern's score. Like they own that score.
You just want to do another one?
Yeah, give me another one.
Brandon, you spawned in Ypsilanti, Michigan to watch Jacksonville State, Eastern Michigan. No. You're going to miss the Toledo, Mississippi State game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Don't get me started on that one. Can I give you a sneaky, awful football team, and it came out of nowhere? Wyoming fucking stinks.
Yeah, they do.
Wyoming, what the fuck happened? I know we had that coach's last game last year, and he retired at the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl, and they hired the defensive coordinator. They're fucking awful.
Yeah, they're really bad.
I bet them against Arizona State. One of the worst bets I've ever made in my life.
They lose that game by 40, and then
what was it? 48-7 was the final. It was 48-0.
And they lost to Idaho. They lost to Idaho, Big Ev.
They're putrid.
Hey, Idaho's a good team. Idaho's kind of at fault here for not being them by more. I watched the entire game on one of my 3 TVs. I had them up on True TV watching that entire game. Wyoming, they have 0 quarterback. They have a guy named Evan Svoboda playing quarterback. Say that name. I can't.
That name
Literally
sounds
can't.
familiar, though. Did he come from somewhere?
I have no. He was 10 to 24 in that game. Did they come from anywhere?
I don't know.
Ooh.
Plutman, you would have loved to have been on the show last year because I got to go to Wyoming twice to interview them. I got to go to the elevation, 7,220 feet up in the air.
Yeah.
It's the highest elevation field, and you need to be high to watch Wyoming play this year because they're god awful.
Their quarterback, you know him, Brandon.
Where's he from?
Snow Community College.
Yeah, I probably don't know him. I don't know why I said that.
Gibbs went there.
All right, Big F, give me your player to watch for this weekend.
My player to watch is Thomas Castellanos.
Yes.
I want to see, can they go into Mizzou and make this a game? How good is Mizzou and how good is BC? Because Bill O'Brien is a guy who I think he's gotten a lot of shit for being a bad GM in the NFL than he was a coach. I feel like that DeAndre Hopkins trade is kind of like pinned to his name, just like a blemish on his record. But as a football coach as a whole, he's been pretty solid. I mean, he got Penn State back on their feet. He's obviously early in the season so far, but he's done a good job. I want to see, can they go slow this game down? And can Thomas Castellanos be a guy? Can he go be a guy? Can he go be a legend? Go be a hero? Go into Mizzou, a team with playoff aspirations, and go in there and maybe win. Make it a fight. I think I'm very excited to watch him versus this defense and see, with all the losses they had on defense, all the NFL players gone, how good is this defense? They played nobody. Now they play a real team, real player at quarterback, dynamic guy. Very excited to see him play Mizzou.
Blutman, who's your player to watch?
I got 3 in the fun fact. I got 3 for one day.
Give it all to me.
Okay. Goodbye. Thursday.
I gotta walk over here and take my vitamins.
Very fair. Thursday, Texas State. I've talked about him extensively today. Joey Hobert playing wide receiver. He's at Washington State. He was at Utah Tech / Dixie State, whatever you want to call him. Insane concentration skills, sure hands, marvelous balance. Touchdown he had in their season opener this year where and anyone listening, look this one up. You can find on my Twitter where I haven't tweeted because I'm technically dead. The footwork that he has, the balance, the concentration, everything to stay in bounds on that sideline and then run the last 8, 9, 10 yards in. Truly amazing. Friday, UNLV, Ricky White, wide receiver, 7 for 91 and a touchdown against Kansas in last year's bowl game. Elite ball tracking, body control, and he's a natural separator. And then my running back this week at Coastal Carolina playing that putrid Temple team. Yuck. Christian Washington, New Mexico transfer, redshirt sophomore, 29 carries for $147, 2 touchdowns in 2 games. He's got big breakaway speed and a 5'10", 200-pound frame. And my fun fact for you in the UNLV Kansas game. Kansas, this is the last game they're playing at the stadium this season. This is their second game that they're playing at Children's Mercy Park, which is a soccer stadium, before they play their Final Four at Arrowhead. Not a true home environment.
Fair enough. My player to watch. We have seen so far this year some star receiver performances. Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State, McMillan from Arizona in week 1. We've seen some guys go out there and make the difference in games. And we have not yet seen the best receiver in the country state his claim as the best receiver in the country. And this is the week. Luther Burden Jr. through 2 weeks has 7 catches, 1 touchdown. Well, the time is now. Boston College coming in. Mizzou played 2 tomato cans. Didn't have to do much. Didn't have to stretch. Well, now they're going to have to stretch a little bit. Now they got to go out there. Brady Cook to Luther Burden. I'm calling it 10 catches, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Gigantic performance from Luther Burden Jr. this week.
I like it.
Oh, good, because I like it too. That's why I said it.
Yeah. I just Drinkwitz does this thing where he for 3 years now, overly gets too careful of his touches or whatever.
Yeah.
There's just games where he's quiet and as blank as a napkin, and I don't really get it.
Well, now it's time for him to be the best player on the field because that's what he is.
Correct.
All right, it is time now for the Dog of the Week presented by Draftkings. And that's where we put together a Dog of the Week parlay. All four of us bring our own underdog to put in this parlay. And you can go on the DraftKings Sportsbook app and you can bet along with us. Big Av, who you got?
Mine, I already talked about the game early. I talked about it last show. Maybe it's a trap, but I'm taking it. It's Oregon State. Oregon State plus 6.5 in Corvallis. Like I said earlier, one of the best home teams against the spread. I just think it's too many points. I think it's a dogfight. It's their Super Bowl. Corvallis, very tough place to play. Oregon's going to go in there, and it's going to be a game. They keep it close. Oregon State Beavers.
Blutman.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to keep this simple and go on a Saturday. And I thought to myself, TCU, an underdog at home. The other team has who at quarterback? KJ Jefferson. I'll take the team with the better quarterback. I'll take the home team here. TCU plus 120 on the money line.
So that means looking at this, that means Kayce Smith's entry is UMass plus 4.5. She's got UMass plus 4.5, and I will finish out the Dog of the Week parlay presented by DraftKings, and that is the Florida Gators plus 3.5 against the Texas A&M Aggies. Texas A&M has zero business being a road favorite against anybody in the SEC. I don't think they're very good. I don't think the quarterback's very good. I think Florida wins the game outright, but that's Florida plus 3.5. UMass plus 4.5, Oregon State plus 16.5, and TCU to win against UCF. And on the DraftKings Sportsbook, that parlay pays out at plus 1386. Plus 1386. A $100 bet gets $1,386. A $10 bet gets you about $138. That's what we got. Again, that is the Dog of the Week presented by DraftKings. Plus, this week, DraftKings has a college football parlay profit boost. All you have to do is head to the app and opt in. So head to the app now and to check out our bet and claim this week's parlay boost. Boys, I love Kayce Smith, but sometimes it's good to just give it the boys, Sometimes it's good.
And I'd be failed to mention, we hit that parlay last week.
We absolutely hit that parlay last week. Big Ev, I hate to brag on us, but me and you had a couple of them last week.
And this Brandon felt so good. I legitimately bet both of them.
Yeah.
And I boosted both of them.
Oh, I love it. I
hit both like 18, hit 19 to ones was magical.
Yeah.
Magical.
That's a great time to be alive right there. All right. Blutman, thank you. Big Ev, thank you. We'll next come to you Saturday night. The whole crew will be back, and we'll talk about week 3. Otherwise, thank you, and that is Unnecessary Roughness.